Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Estelle van de Veld. I'm a Belgian indie author of the upcoming travel memoir, The Londoners, which is coming up next year. I am super excited to talk more about it, so don't hesitate to subscribe so you don't miss anything in January. Because yes, it starts in January. I will finally be able to talk more about my book. So go check out that subscribe button. I'm waiting for you. This video is sponsored by my lovely husband, Quentin Leonetti. I know it's not quite the usual sponsorship you will hear about on YouTube. He is a musician and he recently released a music album. It's the kind of ambient music that works wonders when you're writing. So go check it out. I will link everything down below. If you don't know that fact about myself, I am a freaking pantser. It means I am not outlining my story before I write it. Well, at least not down to its every tiny details. That's not me. However, as I was struggling to get back to the novel I'm working on at the moment, some people recommended to me Save the Cat Writes a Novel by Jessica Brody. This one. This book is kind of famous among writers. I saw a lot of authortubers using it as a reference, so I got curious. I bought it, I read it, and here I am reviewing it for you. So let's get started. Jessica Brody is an accomplished fiction author. If you haven't heard of her as a fiction writer, she worked with Disney on her School of Secrets series, but she's mainly known amid readers for her System Divine or her Unremembered book series. Least to say that she got quite a few books up her sleeves. The Save the Cat methodology was first introduced by Blake Snyders and was originally intended for screenwriters. Seeing that the book worked quite well, Jessica Brody, who is also a writing teacher, was then approached to adapt that book for novelists instead of screenwriters. The results were quite amazing. The 15 beat sheets got famous and 99% of the readers loved the book, according to Goodreads. I personally used the Save the Cat methodology to outline my novel for NaNoWriMo this year because I was working on it for like 3 years before and I was stuck in the middle of it. So I wanted, a kind of methodology to help me out get unstuck. But as a pantser, I can't really say this was a successful experience. I was too focused on what should be on the novel and on ticking all the boxes. So I can't say I would recommend the book to pantsers because it sort of limited my own creativity, if that makes sense. So of course this book is useful in the sense that it brings a lot of knowledge on characters and plots. I also love the examples from famous published books, but implementing the methodology to my own writing was kind of a disaster because of how I work and my own process. So it's not because of the methodology itself, it's just because of who I am. So it may or may not work for you. So what do I really think about Save the Cat Writes a Novel? Overall, it was a good read. Honestly, it was a good read. It struck a few chords. For example, it mentioned the dreaded middle of the story, and at that time I was stuck in the middle of my own story. It also talked about plotters versus pantsers, and it made me smile because she mentioned that pantsers might cringe at the sight of the words like structure or checklist. To be fair, I love structure and I love checklists. So as a pantser, I'm a bit weird, yes I know, but I'm a huge bullet journaling fan and I love organizing things down to tiny details. Like for example, I'm gonna show you. So this is the Victoria Schwab kind of structure for habit tracking, which I'm using for myself as well. But I also have like to-do lists, what I did for my videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm a huge bullet journaling fan. So it got me curious. What's in it that I should cringe about? So as the relationship between characters and plot is highly important in a story, the first part of the book is about characters. It talked about giving your character a problem, a need, and a want, and getting the story about making a character grow and learn how they can actually understand what they need. At the end of the chapters, there's kind of a checklist to help you develop a good character, which is quite useful. I personally knew my characters before starting my novel, but because of the book, I decided to go even further. It helped me realize that I didn't need my third point of view because I realized that it was more of a supporting character and less of a hero. So for that, it did the trick. I understood my characters better. But the second part of the book is about plotting, and that's where it gets more complicated. So Jessica Brody introduces the 15 beat sheet methodology. Ever heard of the 3-act structure? Let's say it's a super detailed version of that. It talked about the beginning, the middle, and the end, and all the things that should fit within those 3 acts. I agree with most of it in theory, but in practice, it kinda didn't work for me. In my opinion, this methodology fails to account for the complexity and the length of novels. I like that it gives a structure, because it might be useful for aspiring writers, but the thing is that I am not an aspiring writer. I think that at this point I already developed my own writing process and my own writing style, but I wanted to give it a try anyway. So I took a couple of post-its and a whiteboard and I started drafting my outline. Beautiful, isn't it? And I did that for each of the 15 beat sheets. Like, every single sheet has its own post-it for the 2 points of view that I had left. However, and that's where it didn't really work for me, I couldn't quite shift my mind around it. Thing is that I considered it more like a checklist that I should tick off than a roadmap, as simple as that. For example, I would write a first bit about my character and I would say, okay, that's done. That's done. Tick off. So yeah, it doesn't really work for me. I truly think that these 15 beat sheets should be in a story, but maybe it works differently, in a different order, maybe, at different places of the novel you're trying to write. To me, the most important thing is the flow. It should make sense and it should be introduced naturally within the story. And that's where it didn't really work for me because I had a checklist of things to put in my story and I couldn't set up my mind to just do it right. But maybe it will work for you. You never know. And the third part of the book is actually the part that I like the most. Books analyses. Not only the author gives a methodology to write a novel, but she also describes tons of books throughout these 15 beat sheets. I found it particularly interesting because as a reader you don't usually pay attention that here is the middle of the story, here is the climax. You just go with the flow, wherever the author wants to bring you. So I think this is a great source of knowledge on the fact that yes, there are books out there following that kind of formula and they work. Overall, Save the Cats Write a Novel was a good read for me in the sense that I got learnings from it. It made me think about my story in a way that I didn't really thought of, or maybe unconsciously. But this is not a book I would recommend to pantsers, because maybe your brain won't work well with that kind of methodology. Mine definitely explode. So let me know in the comments if you have read or intend to read Save the Cats Write a Novel, and if the methodology works for you, whether you are a pantser or a plodder. I would love to hear your opinion about it in the comments. And before I leave you, I would like to introduce you to the 12 Days of Writing challenge organized by Manonche. It's a challenge for writers who have participated in NaNoWriMo or not, and are looking for a way to stay in the flow of writing. The aim of the challenge is to keep people in the habit of writing and to work on their projects. I think that can be a really fun challenge to do in December. I will personally write a short story or maybe edit my upcoming book because yes, it's kind of time that I finish it, right? There's a Facebook group, an Instagram account, and of course a video explaining all of these on Manonche's channel, which I'm gonna put all the links in the description below. If you like this video, don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up because it helps me with the YouTube algorithm and puts my video in front of other people who will potentially like it too. And to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, the red button is here. I post new videos every Tuesday. Until next time, stay safe and wash your hands, guys. Bye.